6 months after we opened, we were staffing 5 homes 24/7. I remember getting a check of $60,000 in a month, and I almost ran crazy. I'm like, how is this possible, right? Because in our wildest dream, we never thought that that was even a thing. 5 years into the business, right? And this is a business right now that in revenue, we're like a couple of millions, like a few millions of dollars. It's a huge business.
Wow.
And we still run it off our basement. I don't have a location. Okay.
No.
I don't
Are
have
you
a
serious?
location. I don't. We have contracts with different government organizations still today. Like we're in Univert, we're in Ontario. We are we just finished a 2-year contract with the federal government, and it's off our basements. So there is no licensing. Anybody can go and open a home care company. There is no licensing. Like so far,
Oh,
it might change in the future. It might. But right now, you can go and open a home care company, even if you are an engineer. And that's another thing too. I hope anyone can take out of there is just take those opportunities that are unfamiliar and just roll with it. I accepted it without knowing anything. And honestly, that was the point where it changed my entire life is this one coffee conversation I had with this guy, this one time I met him, and he literally changed the entire trajectory of my life till today.
thank you, everyone. I can see you. Thank you for joining Olaima, Sino, Okitiakwe, Hadibankege. Thank you, Wendy, Kelechiko, Taiwo Ibukon, Adebayo Ajayi, Erute Obey, Peace Odekunle, Elizabeth Alabi, Patience Afolabi, Adeleke Ojo. Thank you. Real Solani Yuki. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Patience, thank you for joining us. Ineka, hi Kay, thank you for joining us. Kenichuku, thank you. Damilola, you're welcome. I will just start all over again by saying thank you for joining us this evening, creating time out of your very busy schedule to be part of this conversation. Just a little background and introduction. My name is Tolulope Adebayo, and I'm the founder of Brand Parlor Communications, and as well as the Canada Niger Business, or which is an initiative of Brand Parlor Communications. We started the hub, the market hub, about 3 years ago. That was on the 14th of March 2023, and that was just like a year after I came into Canada. I was able to identify the need for us to be able to build wealth as a community, and that I figure out is by helping one another with our businesses. I know we have jobs, but there's a need for us to create wealth through like skills that we have and also other initiatives. And so I created a platform to help our community to do business. I've seen on various groups that I belong to that people ask for various things. Oh, who is selling this? Who is selling that? So I figure out that if there's a place where people are putting up what they're selling, it will be easy for them to find them and to patronize one another so that we can build the wealth within the community. And that is how we've the Canada Niger Business Hub started. And so one of the initiatives we started with also was the MarketSquare Chat, which was to enable us to have conversation amongst ourselves, sharing vital information that could help us, that we could leverage to take advantage of opportunities that are bound in Canada. And opportunities are just information away, right? And maybe the next level is also like an information away. And so we started bringing in people that have established different kind of businesses to share their story so that we can gain insight and know what parts we need to for us to achieve the success they are already achieving in their diverse field. We've had conversation around how to like establish a home care business, a home care daycare for children. We've had conversation about haulage business, logistic, how you can, go into haulage and look at the prospect of that particular business, how viable it is. And also we've had conversation about real estate. We've had about the food industry, even in tech. We've also had that conversation. And today we are beaming our light on home healthcare business. I know a lot of us within our community are in this space. And I think this information is going to be very vital for you if you're looking at establishing a business. But just before we go into that, a little backstory. I just want to take us back to how far we have come in 3 years. Where we started, it was on one single WhatsApp group. Then we grew into being a community because the WhatsApp group got filled up very fast. So we opened another one and started having people. Also within the community, we have a thrift store where people are able to either give away things they don't need, or sell things that they are fairly used and very good. And that has been very helpful for those that have been able to take advantage of that opportunity. Then we have some other groups within that community. Then after a year in 2024, we thought about, okay, so what happens if something happens to WhatsApp? Then we thought about an online marketplace, and that gave rise to Trade Square, a platform where we onboarded most of the vendors that are on that platform to open their store and be able to list whatever they are doing, such that you could just search up certain things. For example, if you want Momo, you could go there and say, I want Momo, and you search it and you see the vendor, the details are there, you can contact them and get whatever you want. That we did in 2024, and this platform is still existing. We are almost like 100 vendors there now. And you can take advantage. The URL for that is tradesquare.biz. Yeah, so those are still people listed that in the on the Trade Square. And in 2024 as well, we started our first trade fair, where we have almost 100 vendors that were part of the market, and it was a kind of celebration within our community where people came from all over to be part of it, and people were able to showcase what they are selling. They've been trading online, they've been trading on WhatsApp, and they're able to meet physically to patronize one another, also to get new contacts, get new customers, and see new people that you could also, do business with or buy from. So that gave them the opportunity to be able to do that. We did that in 2024, and also in 2025 we had a second edition, which was much bigger. We have over 100 vendors that listed that were part of the market. We have the buy-in of some corporate organizations like Rogers and RBC, and we have a lot of vendors did their picture beneath, and it was a very good one. People within the community, government officials were present to see what is happening within our community. And this year we are planning for the next big one, which is on May 16th. So if you're a vendor, someone that sells something that they need to, or people that want to start their business, is a good platform or opportunity for them to put out their name there, put out their business, then meet new people, get contacts, and build their businesses. That is what we do at Canada Nigeria Business Hub. And so today we are here for a very serious conversation, and we're going to be having that conversation with our dear Ann. She has given us her time, a very busy CEO, entrepreneur, and I'm going to be introducing her as she takes the floor, and we have this very important conversation. As the conversation goes on, if you have any questions, you're going to put it in the chat, and once she's through with answering all the questions that I have, then we can go and see some of your question, and she can able to give context to some of the questions you're going to be asking. So by way of introduction, Ann Nzeruem is a dedicated nurse practitioner with over 10 years of experience and the visionary founder and CEO of Mara Home and Health Services. Inspired by the community's need for accessible and affordable care, Ann established the organization to provide exceptional personalized home and health services. She holds a Master's of Nursing from Athabasca University and a Bachelor of Nursing from the University of Manitoba. Ann's expertise spans clinical operations, patient care, and health education, serving diverse populations, including First Nation communities. Under Ann's leadership, Mara Home and Health Services embodies the values of trust, respect, and integrity. Ann is a strong advocate for equitable healthcare and mentors internationally trained nurses. A passion for improving lives and empowering communities drives our commitment to deliver high-quality care and fostering inclusivity in the healthcare sector. Thank you so much, Ann, for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much, Tolu. It's such an honor to be here, just connecting and talking to a whole bunch of like-minded people, and not just that, but I think also a whole community. I'm honored that you reached out, and I just want to say thank you, and I'm happy to be spending my time here today.
Thank you so much, Ann, and thank you for obliging us when we made the request. And also, we are bringing Ann also because this is International Women's Month, and we want to have the story of women doing big things, right? And especially within our community, that is so amazing, and we want to hear your story. So, and welcome to the MarketSquare Chat. For those who don't know yet, and tell us who you are and what does a typical day look like for you as both a nurse and a practitioner and a CEO as well.
Thank you so much. As Tolu had said, my name is Ann Nzeruem, and I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm a mother. I have three boys. I have three boys under seven, so that's exciting and that's very busy as well. I'm also the founder of Mara Home and Health and also Mara Women's Health. In terms of like a typical day for me, it's as you can tell, it's very busy. More recently, I guess the most exciting news of it all is I have managed to retire from my 9 to 5. I did have a typical job for a few years while running almost two companies, but I have managed and successfully been able to retire from my 9 to 5 and just focus on business. A
Awesome.
typical day with me would be like, of course, like helping with it's a blend. It's a blend of like clinical leadership, a blend of business. Some days I still focus on patient care. Other days it's more oversight of the team. We have a pretty robust team. Like it really depends on the day. Some days I'm working on strategies. Some days I'm building partnerships. Some days I'm out there trying to make more connections for the business and just holding up a bunch of meetings. It is very busy, but I think with proper structure and also like a really good team, we're making it work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I want you to infuse a little bit of how you came to Canada. We're having this conversation. You say you came when you were 16. I'm like, wow, 16 years old, and you were able to map out your strategy, so to say, focus on study when you needed to, start business when you needed to. You came at 16 and you were able to find your way around. That is amazing. Do you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Um, I when I left Nigeria in 2008. So I had just graduated high school, and just like it felt normal, honestly. Like with the school I went to, a lot of us just schooled abroad, right? So my parents said, "You're going to Canada." I'm like, "Yeah." I was so happy to leave Nigeria. I think most importantly, I was happy to just be free because obviously, as a young girl in Nigeria, especially with a strict dad, you had no option than just to go to school and come back. But so relocating to Canada, number one, felt like freedom to me more than anything. It's like, oh, nice. I don't have to be under my parental guidance. But in retrospect, actually, I was 16. I remember coming to Winnipeg and I didn't know anybody. Like I basically had my two luggages at the airport, and it's like, okay, go to like I stayed on campus and I basically just went to went to school. So it wasn't the easiest journey. I think most importantly, I find that a lot of the Nigerians coming right now, there is a lot of, I would say, soft landing, like you either know someone or you're coming to meet family. But when I came over 18 years ago, it was completely different. A lot of the friends I have now are friends that I met when I was 16 in school. There weren't a lot of communities of married people because the stream was either you were coming to school. So it was mostly young people who were my age and who thankfully we've become friends. Like we're more like families today. So yeah, it wasn't like then I didn't think about it as scary because it just felt normal that we were coming. But in retrospect, thinking about it right now is yes, I was 16. I've had to figure things out by myself, but I think the most important thing, even as a parent, is the I would say the structure you place on your kids. It's like even in the Bible, it says, teach a child the way it should go and you would never depart from it. So I would definitely give kudos to my parents for not only like pretty much sending me out, but they also equipped me with the things that I needed. And one thing that my parents also did as well was, in as much as I came here, they visited every single summer. They were here every summer. My dad made sure we went back to Nigeria like every Christmas. Like it didn't matter if we only had 2 weeks break. He definitely kept us very close to home. And I say us because my brother eventually joined me. At the same time, I would say support to friends as well, because it's always helpful when you are in a place with people with similar minded people, people that were going through the same struggles with you. Like I said, when I came, I met other Nigerian students. And that was actually what brought me to Winnipeg. I'm just gonna take it back a notch. When I
Okay.
first came to Canada, I went to BC. And I was only 16, so they didn't let me go to university at that point. So at 16 years, they said, "You're so young, you need to go back to high school." I said, okay. So they took me back to a really small community called Vernon, BC. And in Vernon, I was the only Black girl, I want to say in the entire community.
Wow.
The school I went to, I was the only Black girl. And I had a big brother who was in a different university. So I called up my big brother and I said, I want to go. I don't like now it's time for me to start looking for universities. This is after a year of high school. I want to go to a place that has more Black people. That was the real truth. I said, if I stay here, at 16 years old, I'm like, if I stay here, I'm never going to get married because that was it for me. I'm like, I'm never going to get married. And I wanted to get married to, someone who is Black, to be quite honest. I just didn't want. So that was the big thing. I'm like, if I keep staying here, I'm not going to get married. Like, there's all this, like, white people around me. They're nice. So he's like, well, I think I know a province that has more Black students. And he's like, a friend of mine somehow is in Manitoba. So he's showing me pictures on Facebook. I'm like, this is exactly where I want to go. I saw the
Awesome.
Black students. I saw the sense of community. I'm like, yeah, this is where I'm going. So
Awesome.
I applied, got admission, and took my bags here. That's
Oh,
that's exactly the story.
amazing. Amazing. Even though because of our time, I would have
Yeah.
asked you, like, how were you able to navigate the freedom? We have people sent from home back home, they're student, and they can't handle the freedom. I would have loved to know. You can say that in a minute.
Yeah, I can touch on it quite well. I think the big thing is I have a mom. I think it's my family and my upbringing. That's the big thing. With my mom till today, she still calls me every single day. You
Oh,
know, not only is she calling, she's also supporting us through prayers. Like I can't undermine that at all. My parents, in as much as they are far away, they're literally a call away you
wow.
know and another thing too is as a daughter and also as a first daughter, I felt like I had also a lot of responsibility, and I was just able to have that spirit of discernment to be able to discern from right and wrong, and I would only say that that has everything to do with my upbringing.
Mm.
It has nothing like I wasn't special. I did everything that young kids did. I went partying, I went to the clubs, I did it all. But there was a spirit. Like I remember then when I was much younger, I would go to the club like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, but something woke me up every Sunday
For the
morning
morning.
that you needed to be
Time
at
for-
church. Like it didn't even make any difference. So yes, I will stop there.
Wow. Wow, that's powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So you hold a Master's of Nursing from Athabasca University and a Bachelor of Nursing from the University of Manitoba. Did you always know that your nursing career would lead to entrepreneurship, or was there a turning point that changed everything for you?
You know what? No, I always knew that I wasn't meant to be a bedside nurse.
Mm,
I always knew. And I didn't necessarily think entrepreneurship, but I'm not surprised because still going back to my family, I come from a really strong lineage of entrepreneurs. Like all of us there's four of us, we're all entrepreneurs. My parents are entrepreneurs. So it almost felt like a little bit more inbuilt that I knew it was for certain, even when I was doing my clinical rotation, my practicum, I'm like, I don't like, I would be in the hospital working with my patients and doing my rounds. I'm like, I don't see myself here. Like it was so clear that and I worked with a lot of nurses that like, oh, I've been here for 30 years, and I couldn't comprehend how.
wow.
I just couldn't. So, yes, I was very certain that I wasn't going to be at the bedside like every day at the hospital. I was 100% certain. But in terms of was it going to be a business and how big the business was going to get, I didn't see that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I know
So
there's more question that would deep
yeah,
dive.
I know. Yes, I wanted to ask,
So,
at what point did you say, okay, I need to build something of my own? And what made home healthcare the answer?
yeah, no, thank you for that question. So I can't really answer that question directly, except I kind of go through a little bit of my journey to where I was and I made that decision. So when I finished school, so I did my undergrad, I worked as a nurse in the hospital. So I was working at the Grace Hospital Emergency. When I worked in emergency for about 6 years, loved it. Like that was one of my best clinical rotations, and my best work experience was when I worked in emerge as a nurse. But being there, I felt like, no, I can do more. One thing with working in emergency as opposed to other departments is that in emergency, you're more independent. So it kind of opened my eyes to I didn't need a doctor to tell me like this is what it's going to be. Like I would see a patient, I could already um like decide I already knew what the doctor was going to order. So there was this level of confidence that came from working in such a fast-paced environment and gaining so much knowledge, more knowledge than typical nurses in long-term care or retirement home would get. So I think that was definitely my push to being a nurse practitioner. So I knew that I wanted more at that point. So I did my master's in nurse practitioner stream. I'm not sure a lot of people know what a nurse practitioner does, but I can explain a little bit because that really ties into context. A nurse practitioner is obviously a nurse with additional education, but we practice almost as doctors. So these aren't like I basically do everything a doctor would do, like write prescriptions, send you for tests. Like some patients don't have family doctors, they have nurse practitioners. So we're almost like primary care providers as well.
Okay.
So I decided to go into that stream and graduated with my nurse practitioner. But the interesting part was where I got a job changed everything. So when you're a nurse or when you're in healthcare in Canada, that you are made to believe that you only are going to end up in the hospital.
Mm.
That's it. Okay. Like they didn't talk about any other option. It's like you get a job, you graduate, you go work in the hospital or you go work at an access center. So that was the path. But what really changed everything was towards the end of my clinical rotation. So you know how you do like rotations with a, so I did my clinical rotations with a doctor. And I met some like I'm a huge coffee drinker, so I was getting coffee. I met this guy, and he told me something. He says, "I hire nurse practitioner." I'm like, "Yes, please hire me. I'm almost done. I'm looking for a job." I didn't even care what kind of job it was. All I heard was, "I hire nurse practitioners." I'm like, "Hire me." Because at this point, as a new grad, you've already graduated, like you're almost graduating, so you're starting to look for a job. You're almost not getting any job at that point because they're like, we want someone with experience. But how am I supposed to get the experience if I just graduated, right? So that was already how I'm like, yeah, please hire me. And he's like, yeah, when you graduate, just call me. So I called him and he says, I'm going to introduce you to this contract work. And I'm like, I didn't even ask what contract was. I'm like, yes, I'm in. Like it didn't matter, I'm in. So he had introduced me to an indigenous tribal council. Okay, this was just right before COVID. I had no idea what indigenous organizations do. I had no idea about their governance. And that's another thing too. I hope anyone can take out of there is just take those opportunities that are unfamiliar and just roll with it. I accepted it without knowing anything. And honestly, that was the point where it changed my entire life is this one coffee conversation I had with this guy, this one time I met him, and he literally changed the entire trajectory of my life till today. He introduced me to this indigenous organization on a contract basis. We did a 12 months contract with them. After the contract, they said, we want to give you a full-time job. The director is like, oh, we really like working with you. We would like to give you a full-time job. It's a position that we just got a funding for, and we've never had a nurse practitioner there. So it's a beautiful opportunity for you. You have a Canva to pretty much do whatever you want to do with the program. I'm like, yep, I got it. So got into it, and that's how I started working with First Nation community. Being in First Nation community did a whole 360 with my brain in terms of the healthcare system. It's like, wait, no, there's this whole level of governance that has nothing to do with the regional health. It has nothing to do with the province. There is this whole bunch of people that still make their healthcare decision independently without the government interfering. And I think that was the point. I'm like, no, seeing the gap, seeing what the struggles were, seeing the lack of access, tying it to a little bit of my dad's story. I don't know if we're going to talk about that, but that's literally how Mara came together.
Wow, awesome. The ability to be able to identify gaps and
Yes.
see opportunities, how you could be a solution is very key to being a successful entrepreneur. Thank you for that. The name Mara. The name Mara carries meaning, I suppose. So can you share the story behind it? This is a lot of sharing, and we have limited time, but
Okay,
I hope you
great
can share it.
question.
So the story behind it, what it represents for the work that you do.
Yeah, no, thank you for that question because the truth about it is Mara is a name. you know. And the real name is the full name is Amara. So when we were talking about the business, my husband and I, we were thinking about so many things, and my husband like, no, that sounds this, that sounds that, that sounds this, and I was pregnant. Okay, so at my 20 weeks ultrasound, they're like, oh, you're having a baby girl, which we're so excited for. We have a boy. So the second pregnancy, we're like, yes, we're getting a baby girl, like every parent would dream of having. Literally a week before I delivered my baby, or a few weeks before, they were doing another ultrasound because I it was complicated with gestational diabetes. And she goes, cute boy. And I almost died because I'm like, no, I'm not having a boy. Like it's not supposed to be a boy. But before this, when we were gonna have a daughter, her name was supposed to be Amara, which is grace of God. Okay.
Yeah.
So my husband thought about Mara. He's like, that's a perfect name. You're pregnant, you're carrying a girl. Her name is supposed to be Amara. That was very significant. So yes, that's how the name Mara came. But my son, it happened to be a boy when he came out, it was a boy. So now Mara is my baby girl. But at the same time, I think it represents care, compassion, like commitment. It's a place where people feel safe, respected, supported. Yeah.
Awesome, beautiful. Like just you mentioning that, I remember me also naming my unborn baby girl Melody. And I don't have well, I have a melody in my heart, but I don't
There
have a
you
melody in
go.
my house. I have three boys as well. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so we'll move on straight to the strategy. Many healthcare professionals think about started business, but never take the leap. What was your strategy for moving from idea to actual business? Where did you start?
So the big thing is if you they're starting a business and there is starting a creating impact. Those are two different things. Okay. I've had businesses in the past. Like I used to do photography, believe it or not. I used to do photography as a business, and I was a really good photographer, right? And that's a business. I just loved photography. I did it. But when I wanted to start Mara, it was very different. Mara started from when I saw a gap, like a real life gap, which
Mm.
was in these communities in First Nation, especially in First Nation community, honestly, we could compare we could compare the healthcare system in First Nation community very well to Nigeria,
Wow.
very closely. And being in this community, it really brought back a sense of deja vu as well. Because my dad, I talk about my family a lot because they have such a huge impact on me. My dad was like a very, very, very successful businessman, like in Nigeria, still successful today. Thank God he's alive. But something had to give, which was his health. So he built so many things, but one thing that he didn't do was take care of his health. So having diabetes at such a young age, still didn't really understand that diabetes is a chronic disease and could be a terminal disease, just kept that going and kept working and traveling and being successful in his business. That resulted to like poorly managed healthcare.
Mm.
5 years, like a few years later, went into kidney failure. A few years after that, started doing dialysis. Like everything just like he basically almost lost his life. We had to pay for a kidney. We literally flew to India, did a kidney transplant. Um, he was there with my mom for 6 months. Like it was just a whole cascade of things that could have been prevented, but weren't because of just the lack of poorly managed care. When you have diabetes, you should be looking at your diet, your nutrition, your stress level, your blood pressure. It's a whole cascade of things that results to like kidney issues or sometimes death. When I was working in the First Nation community, that was the exact same thing I saw. I was seeing people, especially diabetics, and in First Nation communities with Indigenous people, they start having diabetes as early as 8 years old. So some of them are in dialysis at 25. So it
Wow.
was almost like, I'm like, and if I didn't go to these communities, they wouldn't have any health care.
Mm.
They wouldn't have any health care. So in Winnipeg, and a lot of people don't know these things. In Winnipeg, you can go see your doctor, like you're sick. I'm just gonna go to the doctor's office. In those communities, there are communities they have nothing. So if they have to see a doctor, they're either flying to Winnipeg or driving to Winnipeg. So imagine how things like medication refills are not even done. So you can have high blood pressure in like 2 months. No doctor has come to the community, your medication is not refilled. So those were the gaps I was seeing. And I really tied this to my dad's health and literally having lived all of these things and how it can actually go bad. That was what birthed Mara. Okay. That was why, that was my why. That was like, I'm like, no, I want to build a company that people's health are going to be looked after from a whole person's perspective. We're not just throwing you on a blood pressure medication. We're connecting you to a nutritionist. We work with a mental therapist for your mental well-being. We're connecting you to like a physiotherapy to help you with your mobility and movement. If you go on our website, that's the message of Mara is how do we take care of people as a whole, looking at the whole picture. Because I
Mm.
know what it is when you focus on one part and not do the rest.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm just wondering, like, when you say home health care, you are a nurse. So a lot of people who are on this platform, they are not nurses and they are just healthcare practitioners, social workers, and all that. So I'm just
Mhm.
looking at how does this um like fits their story. So okay, the next question says home healthcare is a competitive space. How did you carve out your niche and what makes Mara Home and Health Services distinctly different? So what you're doing is in nursing or home healthcare?
So that's a good question. And a lot of people think that you have to be a nurse to run a home healthcare company. No, it helps that I'm a nurse, but I do know other companies who are home care companies and they have no healthcare background at all. Okay. So the good thing with home care, and I think it's also very important for me to clarify, and I really want to clarify that because I've had people come to me with a little bit of a different perspective on what I do. I do not do fostering, okay? I do not do like I don't do like I don't have a home where I foster kids or where I have CFS kids in my house. I don't do that. The licensing and the regulatory body for that is different, okay? What a home healthcare does and what my company does, there's four divisions, okay? The first division is your regular home care. So this is us. Basically, our home care clients, so our target population for that home care division could be like an elderly client who lives alone, wants to remain at home as long as possible. So what we do is then we hire staff, which are support workers. So I hire a lot of support workers. We have a lot of support workers in our roster, and we basically then get the support workers to go to their home. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the home care division. We've been able to be very creative with this home care division, and I hope that's something I can leave with everyone today is how you identify gap is there is gap in every area that you're working with. There's gaps everywhere. Be it you're a social worker, think about your organization, like try and understand, like don't go to work just to check off I've worked my 9 to 5. Go to work to really understand their structure. Ask yourself one question. How is my company being funded?
Hmm.
That's the big question is how is my company being funded? If you understand how your organization is being funded, that's where the gap is, which is by the time you notice something is wrong, it's going to be easy for you to be like, okay, I think this is wrong. I can start it as a business, and those
Mhm.
company would be your clients.
Mm.
My 9 to 5, my tribal council eventually ended up contracting my company while I was working for them.
Wow.
Yes, while I was working for them, when they say, oh, conflict of interest, all of those things are nothing. They ended up contracting us for many, many, many months.
Wow.
So it's all about number one, asking yourself, what is the structure of my organization? What are the gaps of my organization? There is gaps everywhere. Like I had to tell my husband, I need to stop having business ideas at this point because I think I'm only one person. I can't be everywhere because everywhere I go, I see I'm like, this
They
is a
call it
gap. This is
they
something
call it
somebody can be doing.
serial entrepreneurship.
Exactly. So there is no licensing. Anybody can go and open a home care company. There is no licensing. Like so far, it might change in the future. It might. But right now, you can't go and open a home care company, even if you are an engineer.
Wow, I was like my next question was about licensing, and you just said there's no licensing. And you said let's talk licensing because this is where a lot of aspiring healthcare entrepreneurs get stuck. So they feel like there's a whole lot of licensing that need to go through approvals. So walk us through the regulatory. Is that are you saying there's no regulatory landscape or anything? So I would really want also I want you to like walk us through the regulatory landscape you had to go through. You navigated to get Mara off the ground in Canada. Yeah.
So, and literally starting a business in Canada, most of the like If you were doing fostering and the CFS, there's licensing in that area. But
Okay.
when you're doing a home care, when you're doing a home care business, the big thing is just your standard business registration. So obviously, number one is that you want to do a name check. I think that's what, just to make sure that there's no conflict in the names.
Mm.
Once you do that, you have to understand what kind of structure do you want, right? Register your business. Are you registering as a sole proprietorship or a corporation, like all of those jazz? You do that. The third thing is ensuring that you have your policies. Okay. So there is no regulatory body as at now that controls the home care departments. No.
Wow.
There are association that helps, but we're not paying into the association. There's nothing. Okay. So there's the Association of Long-Term Care Association Manitoba. I think that's what it's called. We are a part of it because we choose to be a part of it. We choose to get updated information on what is going on in home care in Winnipeg or in Manitoba. But there's not necessarily like particularly a licensed body. However, though, I would say having knowledge and experience in healthcare helps because you want to be able to have policies in place. You want to be able to know what like FIA is. Like FIA is the Privacy Health Act. So things like that are things that they're not necessarily policy, but think about it. If something happens to this client, or if you're not able to train your worker properly and they go to grandma's house and they're taking pictures of grandma, that's a breach of confidentiality and privacy. So basic healthcare rules still applies in terms of caregiving. You also want to ensure that when you're hiring, everyone has like a criminal record and a child abuse. Those are basic
Yeah.
concepts. But in
Yeah.
terms of like healthcare licensing at this moment, there is none for home care.
Okay. So maybe with the conversation we should be having is how do you get your clients?
Good
Because
question.
yeah,
Yeah.
because if I just go open a business, then what happens next? Who
Yeah.
pays for it?
Yeah, and that's a really good question because I felt like that's where we're gonna go. Anyone can open a home care company, but how you get your clients definitely is what differentiates anybody. Number one is we do a lot of marketing. Like you have to market, 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 market. And there are cheap marketing that you can do. Like one of the cheapest marketing I would say is I think we did that last year was lawn signs. You know those like lawn signs when people are like you can
Yeah,
put on
yeah,
the
yeah.
those are like $20 per one or even less than that. Like we printed a whole bunch of 30 for like maybe 300 and we got some of our staff to go put that everywhere. In the summer, people take walks. So we got a lot of
Mhm.
call from that. And that's one of the cheapest marketing you can ever do. Super
Wow.
cheap. So that's number one. Those are individual marketing though. Okay. One
Mm.
of the reason why Mara has been successful is we had to be creative with what we're doing and how we do what we do. Okay. Number one, diversify. Okay.
Okay.
We do home care, we do healthcare, we do travel nursing, and we have
Okay.
one more division coming up. And I'm so excited because that's going to be
You
our
want to
first
give it?
location.
Okay.
Yes. So what this means is, I'll get to what this means is if one area seems down, the other area is thriving.
Yeah.
If one area is down, the other two areas are going. So diversify, number one. Number two, think about, and this is now where that gap is. What we then started doing is we started to reach out to organizations that utilize support workers to be
Mm.
a supplemental staff to them because in our support worker role, in our support worker team right now, I think we have over maybe 30 to 50 support workers on our roster.
Wow.
And these
Okay.
are people looking for hours every day.
Hmm.
So my job is just to ensure that I have contracts for them and I have a work for them. So half the time I'm going to networking events, half the time I'm out there. I want to talk to people who are directors of long-term cares, people who are directors of nursing home. I'm trying to negotiate contracts because in as much as we support individuals, but we can be of help to organizations that
Organizations.
utilizes those support staff. One
Mm.
of our biggest breakthrough, and I'm going to tell you, this was like, I would say 3 months on when we opened was we had this indigenous organization. They took care of clients with alcohol issues or something like that. And while that was happening, a friend of mine, and that's why networking, like somebody that I know, an acquaintance, she knew I opened a home care company, and she's like, "Hey, Anne, we have needs." I'm like, "Yeah, we can fill them." Sure. she connected us, like she was the program manager there. She gave us a contract. We were staffing 5 homes 24/7.
Wow.
This was literally 3 months when we opened. That was like, no, this was a little bit more than 3 months, maybe 6 months after we opened. We were staffing 5 homes 24/7. I remember getting a check of $60,000 in a month, and I almost ran crazy. I'm like, how is this possible, right? Because in our wildest dream, we never thought that that was even a thing. So it's almost looking into your network and also just being creative. Like no matter what you want to do, you have to be creative. There is no blueprint. You just have to be creative with the ideas. Think outside the box. And one of the big things is just tuning down noises. Like with someone like me, I think one of my characteristics, I'm so laser focused, like laser, like literally tunnel vision. I do it even before I tell someone I've done it. Like even my husband knows I'm like, if this is what I want to do, I do it and I deal with the consequences later. But that helps because by the time you hear a lot of input and a lot of noises, it's very distracting. And it's very distracting. So half the time I'm sleeping, I'm just thinking about ideas. I'm meeting someone. Typically, I think I've gotten so good at it that if I saw anybody, I can pretty much convince you why you need our services.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. One thing I can hear like very loudly is networking
Yes.
and being able to like have your elevator pitch ready to like,
Yes.
just say it. You don't know who you're saying it to and what need they have at that moment. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing. So we're looking at your growth and your general operations. And the question is, running a home healthcare operation means managing staff, schedules, client relationships, and quality of care simultaneously. How did you build your operational system, especially in the early days? Please, you can start dropping your questions in the comment section.
Yeah. You know what? That's an amazing question. I think that was actually one of my favorite questions when I saw the stuff you gave me. And the reason is, oh my goodness, like when we started, I think we didn't anticipate where we were going.
Mm,
Okay. We just started and we just like, oh, we were like, it was when I say we, it was just me and my husband. We're just doing it on our dining table, like after work, we did whatever. 5 years into the business, right? And this is a business right now that in revenue, we're like a couple of millions, like a few millions of dollars. It's a huge business.
wow.
And we still run it off our basement. I don't have a location, okay?
No,
I don't
are
have
you
a
serious?
location. I do not have a
Okay, so we shouldn't go
location.
get that fancy office for our businesses.
I'm not saying you shouldn't,
Yeah,
but
no,
just
I'm
ensure that
taking
you
that
need it.
away.
I don't have a
I'm
location.
going to
And
chase my children out of my basement.
a lot of people think that you need a location to do big things. We had
Mm,
contracts with our travel nursing division with the federal government, which is not, we work out of our basement. Like if you look up, I'm in my basement now, we have like 5 work spots. All our staff, we have 5 core staff, like the marketing, the admin, the tech people, they all come here for
mm.
now.
Wow, wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
We have contracts with different government organizations still today. Like we're in Nunavut, we're in Ontario. We just finished a 2-year contract with the federal government, and it's off our basements. I think
Hmm.
I'm deviating right now in terms of operations and system.
Yeah.
In terms of operations and system, number one is when you first start right. Like, because with business, you don't know which is going to succeed, which you don't know which is not going to succeed. So one of
Mm,
the things that we did was keeping our books. Like our books were
okay.
clean from the get-go. And I think I would say that's to my husband. My husband says, if we're starting, like when we started, he's like, we're not using our cell phones. He's like, I don't care. We're going to go get a cell phone and pay 45. Like the cheapest plan, use an old phone, pay $45. That was the best decision. Number one. Number two, he's like, no, we're not doing mara@gmail.com. No. He
Wow.
says, go get a domain. You're
Hmm.
doing consult at Mara Home. Like we basically had to start building the system even before we saw potential in the business.
Wow.
And that trickles down. And even up until right now, we've been burnt, to be quite honest. We've hired a few people. Like there's a position that we have, a marketing position. We've hired 3 people for this particular position. And the reason I feel like we're not successful in retaining people is that the structure of that marketing role is still not straight till
That's
today.
fine. Okay.
It's still not defined. But what I'm saying is just ensure that you define like those little things. Like right when you start a business, it's not going to kick off in the first year. Like you're lucky if your business kicks off in the first year or so. Like I mean kick off, kick off. So that's your time to start like doing the groundwork. Like how do you want the scheduling to go? How do you want documentation? What's the quality control? What's the CRM? How do we check in with people that call? Like that's the time to build all of those things because once it kicks off, it's going to be hard to go there. And some
Mm.
of the reason why we are where we are right now is that for the 2 year contract that we have with the federal government for Indigenous organization in Manitoba, that kicked off so much that our home care got the back seat. A lot of the things got the back seat because we were just so focused on this 2 year contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. And this brings me to the next question, which is funding. And I've seen a lot of people also dropping that in the chat box. Funding and cash. When I think about funding for home care business, I think, okay, they're a non-for-profit and government is, giving them money to, run business and stuff like that. So funding and cash flow are real challenges for healthcare startups. How did you finance the launch and early growth of Mara? And what financial lessons have you learned along the way?
Whew. So there is I feel like I'm hearing two questions in one, and I'll
Yeah.
explain. There is the funding where we had to fund certain things, and there is funding where because one thing with us too is that we also have to keep your ears on the ground where the funding is. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
You have to keep your ears on the ground. If like right now, I would approach any organization that I've heard that they have funding for a position that they cannot fill.
Mm.
Be it next week, I'm sending you a proposal.
Mm.
We do a lot of requests for proposal. It's called RFPs.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different parts in the business, and I know we don't have time, and I wish I could just share it
Yeah.
all. But there's so many parts of it, right? Let's before I talk about the other side, for us, we funded I think we just did things as they came. Okay. I didn't take a bank loan. I don't have any bank loans right now. I didn't take anything to fund a business. We funded based off our current work. Like my husband and I, we had a full-time job. We had a good job, like a very good full-time job, whatever extra money that we did, but we outsourced things to the cheapest of the cheapest. We used Fiverr. I don't know if you've ever heard of Fiverr, if you've
Yeah, Piper, yeah.
Yes, a lot of like initially our flyers were Fiverr, our website we used Fiverr. These
Mm.
were like, and this was 2021, so almost 5 years ago. These were like, I think our website was like $300 at that point. The printing, like we did printing for like $80, like just super, 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 super. We started super, super, super low and basic. Okay.
Mm.
However, it might not be the case for every business. Okay.
Yeah.
We're at a point now where with our new location and our new clinic coming up, we definitely need a bank loan. So I can't
Mm.
say, you have to
It's
understand
still,
the business
yeah.
that you're doing. But I think the big thing too is also just ensuring that your numbers and your business proposals actually are adding up and they make sense.
Thank you.
Um,
Okay.
on the other part of things, right? If you're starting any business, especially if you know that you want to have a successful business here in Canada, and I speak for any kind of business, keep your ears where the funding is coming from. And
Okay.
that's the same thing I said is look at your own current 9 to 5. Think about it. How are they making their money to pay me? It's not free money. You're not just being paid because they love you.
Yeah.
There's
Also
a
revenue
way.
source. Yeah.
Exactly. Where's that source coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And once you can tap into the source, you're good. One more thing I would say
Okay.
regarding those organizations that we tapped into organizations that were funded by the government. So we know that it's not one person. It's hard for me as a person to bring $900 to be paying someone to come to my house every day. But if
Yeah.
that money is coming from the government, I'm happy to
Lovely.
give that person $900.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I get it. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know people have a lot of questions. So I would
Yeah.
just like peg my questions. Maybe I should just ask the last one about community impact and advocacy. You're mentor to like internationally trained nurses. What does that mentorship look like, and why is it important to you personally?
Thank you. That's a really good question. Like, I think we started alone, but we've had to piggyback on mentors to grow even better. Okay.
Hmm.
And mentorship is something that I do, especially to young women, nurses or no nurses. Okay. I mentor a lot of young women in different areas, be it like family life. I have 3 kids. Like one of the questions people ask me a lot is how do you find balance? You have two
Oh,
companies, you have 3 boys under 7, you have a husband, your wife, you have a family. How do you find time to even be outside? That's a whole new conversation. In terms of mentorship, I've dealt with mentors. I have great mentors till today. I have people that I call on. There was something that I want to share with you is when you give, it comes back. And it
Mm.
doesn't necessarily come back from the people that you give. It comes back from things that, like, God just has a way, the universe just has a way of rewarding you back.
What
So
do
I give
you
my time a lot.
give to
You
gain?
know, give to gain. When you give, it comes back. And we've been quite lucky. Even I've been blessed with people that I don't even know. Like I've had people, like a lot of the core business, like our accountants, whatever we've been doing that is substantial. Those are people that I've met at networking events. I've just met them. We've gone for coffee. They've connected me to one thing or the other,
Okay,
you know.
awesome.
So
Wow.
in any way that I can also help our community, especially people who are very like-minded, who are serious and about business, and they truly want to make an impact, I'm happy to dedicate my time and my abilities and also my knowledge and my experiences to help.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us that. So for everyone that is here, we have about 46 people. You can hear Anne saying that she's ready to help to mentor. And so I'll just go straight to the chats room to see what we have there. Sylvia said, how do you charge clients to be able to pay your staff and other expenses?
Okay, perfect. So with service industry, especially when you have clients, what you do is you do a 70-30 split.
Okay.
That's standard. Even doctors who work in clinics, they are paying the owner of the clinic 30% of their pay.
Okay.
So that's applicable to my organization as well. So be it my travel nursing division, be it my home care division, be it my healthcare division where I have social workers and mental health, everyone pays an overhead to the company because that's how we manage it, the administrative work. That's how we do all the logistics. So
Mm.
some people were able to negotiate a 60-40, some people 70-30, but nothing less than that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in hindsight, if we're charging a client $30, we pay 70% of the $30 to the worker who's working, and we keep 30.
30%. Wow, that's fair.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how much would you say is a good estimate of starting capital needed?
So and are you saying for the home care? Just to
Yeah.
clarify, probably home care.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
starting capital for home care is very low. The big thing is how do you market? Do you know what I mean? Like I said, anybody can start a home care company, but it's like how do you intend to market yourself is the big thing. A lot of the money goes into marketing. Like I told you, like the lawn sign marketing is cheap. If you have like a lot of people think, I see a lot of social media marketing. That's
Yeah.
good if it's your clientele. But if your
Yeah.
clientele are not on social media,
On social media, right?
exactly. So
Yeah.
starting cost would be minus marketing. It's just a website, a social media page, and a business registration.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
not
That's
that much.
that's so like it's not huge at all.
Yeah.
I just wanted to dig
However,
deeper.
can I
Okay.
answer a little bit more of
Yeah.
that? And why I say that right now is there is so many opportunities, right? I leave it out there for you. Like if anyone wants to start a home care companies, by all means, sure, do it. But think about home care as one thing and think about niching it into something else.
Okay.
There is postpartum care. There is kids with special needs, right? Right now, home care is so generic and there's a billion home care company, but there
Mm.
aren't any company right now that are very niche into
Mm.
specific things. If I
Yeah.
were to do it again right now, that's what I would do, is
Mm.
niching it into maybe taking care of kids with special needs or taking care of kids with mental illness. Because with that, that's already a target for even advertising with CFS company that we have specially trained healthcare providers or support workers that have mental health CPR. Like there's a way that you can rub off the story. It looks more elite than what it is.
Mm. Mm. Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. I just wanted to ask for the post you talked about that you were able to put the lawn post, the lawn billboard or whatever.
The lawn sign.
Science, yeah, sorry.
Mhm.
That's the right word. Like, do
Mhm.
you have to like ask for permission? I just for those that are listening, do you have to ask or you just go dig the ground and put it in front
No.
of
No, no, that's a good question. No. So it depends. There are public places that you can just go and put a lawn sign, like in a park, just go and put your lawn
Yeah.
sign. They might take it off, but just go and put your lawn sign. The only places you need to ask for permission are residential homes. So,
Okay.
for example, if you're going to come and put a lawn sign in my home, ask me for permission. If not, I'm going to fling it
I'll
out.
pick it up.
But
Yeah.
for us, we put lawn signs in like in walkways, like bus benches, bus stops,
Right.
places like that. Yeah.
That makes sense. And
Yeah.
there's no last salary. Okay. Yeah. The next question. So that question was from Wendy, and Patience is asking, do you have an agency for the travel nurses? Travel nursing.
Yes. So we have Mara Travel Nursing.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's great. Kenneth wants to know what are the differences between home care and home health? Sorry, home care and health care.
Okay, so very good question. Why we are Mara Home Health Company and not Mara Home Care Company is that we do both home and health care. Okay,
Okay.
like I said, the home care is just support staff going to people's home, taking care of like disabled people, people that need extra care. The health care then ties into a perfect example is we have grandpa who has diabetes. Grandpa is getting home care, like people helping him with food, bathing, cleaning, whatever. But let's say the support worker, Sarah noticed that grandpa is not really eating or grandpa's blood sugars are not checked. Instead of grandpa going to the hospital, they can just call us and be like, hey, Anne, here's what I'm noticing about this client. We're able to send our nurse practitioners to come and assess grandpa's medication. We're able to send our nutritionist to say, okay, grandpa, should we talk about your meals? That's the healthcare part of Mara is we work with like nurse practitioners, social workers, mental health, occupational therapists, and other like healthcare parts of things. So that's why it's a home health care company.
Okay, wow.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that's good.
And anybody can do that too. You just have to hire the right people.
Hmm. Okay. So Nike wants to know, can you explain the difference between providing, oh yeah, I think it's almost the same, but let me read the question. Can you explain the difference between providing private home or compassionate care services and operating in home care service where clients are assigned through government programs?
Okay. So that's a really good question too. Your private home care is like just what I have been explaining. The government one is there are people who have government funding and
Okay.
can apply for their own home care.
Okay.
Okay. So that's a really good question because there is something I tell our clients, which is there's a stream called self and family managed funds. Okay. WRHA offers this, and most health regions offer this. So, this is specifically for people who don't want the government home care because government does provide home care, but they do the bare minimum. In
Mm,
fact, government home care is that they're coming to your mom's house for 10 minutes, they give her food, and they're out the door. Some
mm,
people want more time. Some people want more people, like they want people to come and spend time with them, do the laundry, sweep the house, do these things. Government home care doesn't do laundry. So what we offer to our clients that want more is we can apply for a self and family managed funds for you. Okay. So that basically what that is that the government is paying the clients by themselves, and then the client then pays the home care company of their choice.
okay.
Okay. But the difference is there is a cap to how much the government gives. So government might give $21 an hour. Our charges might be $30 an hour. So what
Oh,
that means is that the patient would still have to complete
yeah.
$9 per hour.
So it's kind of subsidized by the
It's
government.
just subsidized and you have to qualify for that subsidy. So it's not everybody.
Mm,
And there's
okay.
a whole process that goes into qualification. Like the government sends their social worker and their OT to come and do an assessment in your home and qualify you for hours, X amount of hours, and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, Irute is asking, how about insurance? And I'm wondering what exactly he wants to know, but do you understand?
Yeah, I do understand that. So, yes, you do need insurance. I thank you for saying that. You do need insurance to have any business, like if, especially home care business. My husband is an insurance broker, so I think that's why that part doesn't even cross my head because he takes care of that. But
Okay.
yes, he does business insurances, so you do need an insurance. And the reason why you need an insurance, you don't need an insurance right off the bat, but there are some contracts that we got that required us to have insurance.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. Yeah, somebody is asking, what is the immigration status required to start? That's Olani UK. Someone said you have to be a citizen. So I guess the question is, for you to start a home care business, do you need to be a citizen, a permanent resident, or a temporary worker or student?
To be honest, I'm going to push it out there to every business owner. For you to start a business in Canada, like a registered business, do you have to be a Canadian citizen or? or a permanent residence?
Okay. Maybe we'll call for backup.
No, yeah, like I actually don't know. Like
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
really say no. Someone said no, I
Yeah.
don't think
So,
so.
yeah, somebody say it depends on the business. Yeah, because I'm just looking at this home care business. It's like a very sensitive business that they probably need, yeah, you probably need a form of like state to be able to operate it. I don't know.
Yes. And I personally don't think that, I think more PR for sure and citizenship, right? I want to say that's probably what it is. I don't know about a work permit. I have no idea. But given that, so there is the business registration that you do with the province, like the
Hmm.
business. But then in terms of regulation, so there's different regulatory bodies. There's not a home care like regulatory body. Okay.
Okay.
So all that you have to do in terms of requirements would be with the government. So whatever the government requirement is to open up a business, that's what it's going to be.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. And Comfort Digital is asking, in terms of knowledge in this field, for persons with looking to go into starting business in the children with intellectual disabilities, how can one access training or education to understand the care and everything involved?
That's a really good question because if you're not in healthcare, I think that it would be ideal for you to take some courses, right? And I wish I could, like, there's a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of courses. However, though, I would start with if you've ever done support, okay, perfect example. If you've ever been a support worker at any point in your life, think about the agency that you worked under.
Okay.
What kind of training they gave you?
Okay.
Okay. And where was the training from? I think hopefully if I'm leaving anyone with anything is be curious about what you're doing. Be curious about like every aspect of things out there, especially when it comes to work. Be curious about it
Hmm.
because a lot of the things I've implemented in my business right now has stemmed from the work that I did, be it like when I first came as a student, I worked as a support worker with a company called Dash. I remember doing like WIMIS. So right now in my organization, I'm like, everyone has to do WIMIS. I can't even tell you why. I remember doing CPR. Right now, all my support workers are mandated to do CPR. So just have the curiosity with what you're doing. Like immerse yourself. You're in Canada,
Yeah.
immerse yourself in the Canadian system.
Yeah. And
Immerse
then,
yourself in the
yeah.
Canadian system.
And learn from it, then you can utilize what you've learned.
Yes. And then you
Uh,
can utilize it.
okay, yeah. So I think that's about all the questions in the chat room, and I'll just conclude on my own questions. What does the next chapter of Mara Home and Healthcare Services look like? Where are you taking it?
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So for us, we have so much going on. I think the next chapter, which is what we're currently in now, is I'm really growing our women's healthcare um, division. So right now, as a nurse practitioner, so there's still more home and health going, but as a nurse practitioner, we are like deep diving into women's health. So we're doing a lot of like menopause, perimenopause, PCOS, period issues, infertility, things like that. We're really deep diving to grow that part in. We are also going to be, by God's grace, fingers crossed, launching our first physical location end of summer. We're just in that
Awesome.
pre-construction phase. So
Wow.
hopefully people can leave my basement and
Wow.
it's going to be a health and wellness center. So we're
Oh,
super excited about that.
awesome.
Of
Awesome.
course, we are always have like we're constantly like I have someone constantly applying for proposals for me, looking for opportunities, especially in different provinces and different government and different government organizations. And I think most importantly, I think at this point too, we are also working with some business consultants to be able to scale our business because you get to a point where you're like, okay, we're ready to scale,
Skill, yeah.
and then you have to get the right people in. Nobody built a business by themselves. Everybody, from what I've learned, they built a business with having the right support system and the right people. And trust me, those right people are not in your network. They are
Mm,
out there.
outside. Please say that again.
They are out there. They are
Wow.
out
You need
there.
to put
So
yourself out. Don't stay
they're out
within and
there.
be cocooned
They're
in
out
within.
there.
Well, I
And
get it.
you have to be curious about things like we're in Canada to be like no yes, I love the fact that there's a Nigerian community. Yes, we're supporting each other. Like that's what we need to do. That's that sense of community. But the truth about it is that there are people in this country who are in this Winnipeg who are the movers and shakers of policy. You
Hmm.
cannot influence a policy if you're not sitting at the table.
Wow.
You are on the menu.
Let's go to the table.
Go
Yeah,
to the
you're the
table.
menu.
You are on the menu.
Yeah,
So even as I
exactly.
am right now in the I'm a member of the Nurse Practitioner Association. One of the ambassadors of the Winnipeg Women's Conference. Not like I just want to be there. I want to be like, if you're going to be making a decision about me, I
That
want to
affects
be
you.
on the table and I want to be
Yeah.
hearing what decisions that you're making about me.
Mm, awesome. Okay, thank you for that. I think that's a big take home for me. If you would go back and give yourself one piece of advice on the day you decided to start this business, what would it be?
Huh. I think the thing is self-doubt and validation. Okay. And those are the piece of advice. And I think it's not really an advice. Those are the things that I wish I had conquered earlier, you know.
Mm,
And the self-doubt is just believing in yourself. I think that's what it is. Like I didn't realize, like even up until like my big age right now, I'm like, oh my God, I've walked through like right now I go in there, I'm like, I might say rubbish, but you have to listen to me.
yeah.
So
Wow.
that's just the truth, right? And that's because I think everybody, and this is also for people out there, when you go to network, don't get stuck up on, did I just mess that up? Because
Mm.
everybody out there is all in the same
Yeah, trying to
situation.
figure it out. Yeah.
Everyone's trying to figure it out. Nobody even knows what they say. And to be quite honest, 9 out of 10 times, whoever you're talking to, that pitch you're given, they're probably not even going to remember it in
Yep.
the car. So
Yeah.
just
Was
put
one
yourself
right quick.
out there. Like you
Yeah.
make the blunder, you keep making the blunder, and one day you figure it out because the more
Yeah.
you rehearse stuff, the better it is. And
Yeah.
then I said self-doubt and validation. I think another big thing is just ensuring that I'm not tying my self-worth to anything. Like
Mm,
what I'm doing is what I love to do. Whether
mm,
it works out, it doesn't work out, I keep doing it, right? Um, Definitely money is good, but I think if your focus is too much about money, people sniff that from afar.
mm, mm.
Yes. People sniff desperation. People sniff
Yeah.
things like that from afar. So whatever you decide to do, just ensure that number one, creating value is the key. It's think about it that we are all building something greater than us.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. And you're all making impact. So
Wow.
those are the two things I would tell myself. It's just not tying anything. Like it's like I have high intention, but low attachment to the results. Like I have the good best intention. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But it doesn't matter how it turns out.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Awesome. If you're gonna give us like a last word, what would that be as we close?
Last word, last word, last word. I would say enjoy the journey. Like entrepreneurship it's almost like there's no it's a marathon, it's not a race. Do you know what I mean? It's a
Mhm.
marathon, it's
You
not
are
a
there for the
race.
long haul.
You're there for the long haul. You're not even there for it. Like think about it that this thing is something I am passing to my children. Like you're trying to build a legacy.
Mm,
You're trying to build a community that this is not just about you. If you can for once take yourself out of the business, I think that's the best thing that you can do and not tie it to you. Because when you tie it to like, oh, I'm working for this business. This is a mission. My business is a ministry. I find it's a ministry that God has given to me. Like think about it
mm,
as a ministry.
the
It's not
ministry.
me.
Hmm.
That's the
Wow,
big thing is
that's
every
very
day I
instructive.
wake up, I don't wake up because I'm like, oh, I'm trying to make X amount of dollars. I don't wake up. I'm just like waking up like, okay, I need an opportunity for this business to keep moving to
Hmm.
God knows where, like wherever the direction takes us to, like it takes us to it. Like it's something I want to build for my children. It's a legacy I want to leave and having that impact. It's something that the kids want to take it from there, good for them, and things like that. Like even with us right now, I have three brothers. All my brothers, they schooled in Canada and Switzerland. They've all moved back home to work for my dad. So it's a
Wow.
legacy.
Yeah. Awesome. Wow.
Mhm.
In fact, I know I've been seeing a lot of comments saying, "Wow, awesome session, insightful." Please let's put up emojis to thank Anne for sharing
Thank you.
so much from the depth of our hearts. Thank you so much, Anne, for sharing your 1 hour 30, almost 30 minutes with us. We are
Thank
so
you.
grateful for
Thank you.
sharing straight from your heart, not holding back, and giving us like insight into how you're able to make it success. of your journey in the business world in Canada. Thank you once again. If you haven't signed up for our upcoming Niger Trade Fair, it's coming up in May. I just want to put out the word there. We'll also be sharing the code on different platform, and so you can scan the code or where you got this from. You can click on the link to register and also share with a business owner that you know. Being on that stand where people have about 3,000 people coming in, you never know who you might meet that can, elevate your business. A contact, just one contact, I get a lot of supplies. I remember the Tolu pottery coming in last year. They got a contact and they wanted him to supply like 200 pieces of like a mug. So trade fair is about making contact. So share like you can scan the code, you can click on the link in the different groups you belong. And thank you for being a part of our third year anniversary. And we keep building. And just like Anna said, it's a marathon. I'm not giving up. Now I'm fired up. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you everyone for coming to be part of this session. And God bless you. Please, let's put out more emoji to say thank you to Anne. Our clapping, our love, our celebration. God bless you, everyone.
Thank
And
you.
have a great rest of your evening.
Oh, thanks. Bye, everyone.